I just want to say something really nice and positive at the end of the day before I go in the house and get tackled by dogs. I explore with people every day who they want to be, what they want to become, what are their goals. Inevitably, when people go to therapy or go to counseling or seek out anything, any kind of a healing experience, inevitably there's an implicit assumption that people want to grow. And I just had this really beautiful, simple sort of awareness earlier of the relationship between body and energy. And for anyone out there that's really skeptical of using language like energy, just understand that I'm very careful in removing dogma from my language. So really, objectively speaking, removing dogma, I just look at quite simply that I am an animated being. I have a physical form, and my form can house energy. We could use a different word than energy if you'd like, but at the very least, I have a physical form, and this physical form has energy flowing through it. And indeed, I think physicists would say that the entirety of the universe is an invisible field that is transcendent energy, and that everything is a manifestation of that energy. What some physicists and some spiritualists might say is that the entire universe is in itself consciousness, and that it is all one consciousness, and that we are a manifestation of that consciousness, and that consciousness is in us, and that our body is a vessel that is uniquely made to house that consciousness or house that energy. More practically, as I was really thinking about this earlier and working through this with a client, I was talking about what my body has accumulated, what my body has learned, what my body has learned from a place of navigating this time and place, this society, this culture, what my body has learned from the perspective of survival. And then I was talking about my ego as a manifestation of the body, that the ego is a manifestation of the body, and that the body and the ego are driven to survive, and that is often contradictory to my energy, to my consciousness, to my experience of consciousness, that, back to the beginning, that we are inherently made to grow. Just like an acorn is made to grow, like a seed is made to grow. All you have to do is provide the right nurturing, the right environment, and it will grow naturally. You can't yell at an acorn and make it grow better. You can't deprive it of water and make it grow better. You can't punish an acorn and make it grow better. And all of our bodies and all of our minds and all of our hearts have experienced punishment. We've experienced pain. We've experienced grief. We've experienced trauma. And in this world we're living in, and we're all feeling it a lot right now, and I see a lot of people preaching and posting from a place of fear. A lot of us are driven from a place of fear-based survival. And that tends to come from a place of generational trauma or survival-based experience. Quite simply, that we've all been hurt and harmed and traumatized by our journey of being in this place, and that our body and the manifestation of our body that we call the ego, the program that we call the ego, I often call the ego just a memory of who we think we are, trying to survive in the present moment. The ego is a memory or a program of who we think we are, fighting for survival in the present moment. It is not who we are. It is a memory of who we are. Who we are is the essence of all spiritual teachings. It is the consciousness, it is the energy, it is the soul that is the observing self that is experiencing this body, that is experiencing the program and the memory of the ego. And what we were discussing as growth or as becoming was essentially learning to align the body with energy, to align the body with consciousness. We could go so deep into that. To me, that is what the essence of yoga is, for example. It's the essence of meditation, for example. I think it's actually the essence of baptism. It is surrender to God. It is surrender to Christ within. It is surrender to the divine becoming you. All these words point to the same direction. It's allowing the body and the mind to actually become in alignment with pure consciousness, God consciousness, universal energy that transcends all things. All the spiritual teachings and all the physicists all point in the same direction. And that is to align the vessel of the body with pure consciousness, with pure energy. That is healing, that is becoming, that is being. That is when we manifest, when we live, when we create, when we make love from that place, we are living in our highest form, what people think of as perhaps enlightenment or self-actualization or just being. The beautiful irony of just being is it requires great surrender. It requires surrender. I think I could talk about this for hours. It requires surrender of all the fear-based stories that are built into your mind and body, that are built into your ego, which is a manifestation of the body. And that ego is fighting for survival, and it's fighting to keep you safe, and it's fighting to maintain who it thinks you are. And it's rooted in fear. And a thought I was having yesterday is that God is love and the devil is fear. And these are mythologies that help us understand this story that I'm exploring right now. We can live in fear-based, survival-based thinking and behaving that is rooted in our inherited generational trauma and our inherited stories and the stories that are sold and told by very conscious players and entities in the world that actually do want to use and abuse and manipulate. Or we can align ourselves, we can align our physical bodies with our greatest good, with our deepest knowing, with pure consciousness, with pure love, with pure energy. I think that is healing. I think that is transcendental love. It is the place I want to live from. It's the place I want to connect from. It's the place I want to walk next to people in and help them to discover that place. And I hope sitting in my driveway on this Wednesday night, I'm able to sort of convey that a little bit in this moment. And just because I hung up this thing and then I just was still in that space. I think when you align your body with pure love, pure consciousness, pure energy, with the divine, with God, with being, what comes out of you is your true self. That's where great art comes from. It's where great music comes from. It's where great business comes from. It's where great relationships come from. When we manifest from that place, we don't have to control it. It's not fear-based. It's not control-based. It is a manifestation of our most honest, pure, divine self. And that's different for everyone. Everyone has their version of that, I think. And when we create from that place, we really have unlimited potential. I think if we are created in the image of God, then we are beings who are made to create. And I think we have unlimited creative potential when we align our consciousness with our body and we remove fear from the equation.